About not playing scripted solos and playing preconceived ideas. You're about to see and witness what real improvisation is, because Terrell Stafford just said everything I was going to say. Honesty and clarity. We are cut from the same cloth. We've given a lot of clinics together, and those are two of the crucial things. The first time I heard it was when we were artists in residence at the Monterey Jazz Festival. John Clayton, Gerald Clayton, and me. And John and I are supposed to be the experienced clinicians. And this is 8 years ago, maybe, something like that. And so we were fielding questions, and there was a question for Gerald. And he said, "What do you think about when you're soloing?" And Gerald Clayton said, "Two things, honesty and clarity." And that's really all he said about it. It's what you want to play, be honest with yourself about what you want to play and the message you want to get across to people. And that's a great starting point for meaning everything that you play. A lot of us just play a lot of fluff, and the drummers especially, you know, we were thrown a slab of rubber and two pair of sticks and told to go mama dad at the very beginning. And we don't think of sound, we don't think of what we can contribute to the rest of the musicians we're playing with. And the great Mel Lewis was insightful and told me that you need to play to make everybody else on the bandstand sound as good as they possibly can, or perhaps better than they think they can. So what can you do? That's not just for the drummer, that's for everybody in the band. The musicians I've played with have expected that out of you. There's no rehearsal usually when you get hired. Oscar Peterson, I walked in and I had to know the library. There's no music, and you get a feature on the first tune, and you better know the arrangement. But instead of thinking about what I was going to play in a solo, I'm thinking, how do I make Oscar Peterson sound as good as he has on all those records that I've been learning? And I'm playing for that musician. First night with Ray Brown, played with Ray for 18 years. I couldn't wait to play quarter notes with him, whether it was going to be right or not, which of course it was right. And you get this exhilarating feeling of, I let this happen. The magic that Sherman talked about happens when you let these things happen. Another point about that, the great Roy Haynes was on the jazz cruise a few years ago at the tender age of 89. And the interviewer said, "You've played with Billie Holiday, Lester Young, Chick Corea, Stan Getz. You played with all these great musicians. Who do you like to play with the most?" And Mr. Haynes said, "I like to play with people who let me in." I didn't hear a lot of soloists let the rhythm section in today. Even when there were backgrounds that were provided for you, you sort of blew over those whether anybody was playing a background or not. Pick and choose your spots to drop your great ideas in and let the band make you sound better than you think you might sound if you blow over the band. Little examples like that. Rhythm sections, as it has been hit on already by all the adjudicators, is we have to play together. We're going to sound better if we don't focus on ourselves. Again, Mel Lewis said, as a drummer, know your beat, be confident about it. Drummers, you have to be confident. You can't be guessing or hoping. Everybody's depending on you. You chose the instrument. So now everybody's leaning on you, so you got to live up to it. And in every big band, there are going to be 16 people who know better than you what you should be doing. So get used to it. So the more homework you do on having the confidence of knowing what you do, then you can offer your beat to everyone in the band and offer it to them to come into that beat. And not everyone is going to hear the beat the same way you do, but the beat should be wide enough and big enough that everybody fits. So encourage everybody in the band to play together and not fight and hit a lot of rim shots and crash cymbals to get their attention. Embrace the band into your time. Don't beat them up with rim shots. I was 15 years old in a local college band in Richmond, Indiana. We didn't even have a jazz band in my high school. I wanted to start one, and they wouldn't let me. So the college band leader came over. He said to the high school band director, "Do you have any drummers that want to play in the band?" He said, "Take this kid out of my hair. He's driving me crazy." So I went over to the college band, and it was the best thing and worst thing that could happen to me. It was all Buddy Rich big band charge, which I had memorized because I grew up in rudimental drumming, and it was perfect transition for me. So after the first rehearsal, this 15-year-old was pulled aside by the 22-year-old college lead trumpet player. "Kid, you sound good for 15, but can I tell you how many rim shots you're hitting?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Every time you want us to come in, you get our attention with a rim shot. And then you play the figure with us with rim shots. You know what that's like? It's like you're screaming at me, 'I just want to play music with you.'" And he turned around and walked away. You don't need to hit a rim shot every time you play the snare drum. Get a big, warm, fat sound out of the snare drum and save the rim shots for when you need it. I still don't play rim shots to this day very often. It's a sound I don't like. And crash cymbals, a lot of times the crashes sound like an empty champagne bottle against a fireplace. You know, we want a warm gush crash that will embrace the band. Don't push the band away from you. But consistently this year, I have to say, the drummers were more consistent, I think, than any other year as far as the talent and being concerned about the band and playing and providing time for the band. And I commend the directors for pointing that out to the drummers, because it always hasn't been that way. So thank you for making it very easy to listen to you this year. And rhythm sections in general were more consistent. Bass players were strong. Nobody came in. I agree with what they said before, not always together, but in your own world, you really played your instruments well. The bass lines were good. You provided for the band. We just have to connect with everybody else in the band. Guitars were generally in the right dynamic level when they soloed. A couple of them jumped out. So make sure you're still a member of the band when you solo. It's not you against the band. Embrace the band to help your solo sound better. So I'll shut up with that, but just remember the honesty and clarity, and that will take you a long way. I mean, it got Terrell Stafford here. You know, so. Thank you.
Please, please, please keep it going for these amazing judges. This is my first year in that role. I remember several years ago joining the band and being a part of the essentially Ellington festivities as a member of the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra, and it's been pretty amazing being on this side of it. So my experience is a little bit different. I was overwhelmed much of the time, seeing the levels of joy in the room, seeing some of my peers who I came up with some couple decades ago now leading ensembles. Folks that I talk to every now and then, and we check in together, and seeing what they've done to build programs, seeing all of you doing your absolute best truly inspired me, not just as a musician, but as a human being, as a human being. So I want to say thank you to all of you for showing up with your best, for showing up with your best. And yes, and you know, I want to echo everything that was said here and really sort of drive one point home with a story. I had the great opportunity about 10 years ago to tour with Herbie Hancock, Wayne Shorter, Marcus Miller, and Sean Rickman. We went to Europe together to do a Miles Davis tribute. Now, scared ain't the word. I'm sitting there trying to figure out, like, why am I even here? What's going on, you know? And we get to the first rehearsal in Los Angeles, and It was about 10 o'clock in the morning. We had a rehearsal from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. And the rehearsal started off with Wayne telling a story, and then Herbie would tell a story, and then Marcus would tell a story, and then they would tell another story. And then by that time it was 1 p.m. And we hadn't played anything. We had lunch, and we came back, and they told more stories until about 4:15. And then Herbie said, well, I guess let's play a tune. And so we played a tune, and Herbie said, I guess that's it. See y'all on the plane. I said, whoa, wait a minute, wait. We didn't rehearse anything. What are we going to play? And Wayne Shorter, without hesitation, said, well, young man, we can't rehearse the unknown. That right there is the essence of this music. It's the essence of being alive. You prepare by working on your instrument. You prepare the pedagogy. You learn the scales. You learn the exercises. You learn the licks, the tunes, all of that stuff. But when you get up here, forget it. Be vulnerable. Enjoy one another. Be fearless, because everybody else that's on the stage with you feels the same way you do. They're scared too. But the one thing I'll tell you is this. This music, if I may evoke the words of my dear friend J.B. Dias, this music is the greatest representation of democracy because it allows for individual freedom, but with responsibility to the group. We are all here in this beautiful experiment. And this music affords us to bring the sonic human representation of the hope of democracy. But there is no hope without the exercise of democracy. That means that in your sectionals, in your rehearsals, you have to try things, you have to fail, you have to disagree a little bit, you have to spend time together, listen together, not just in rehearsals, at your lunchrooms. Send each other YouTube videos, send each other recordings, argue about how you're going to play on one. And then after that, understand that the best type of culture is the balance of tradition and trend. We represent traditions that have been passed down from generation to generation that work, that give us the ability to be free, that catches us when we fall, that are there as beacons of light when we don't know where to go. But you all represent the trends to come along and say, perhaps the traditions can sort of think of things a little bit differently. It's our responsibility to listen to you, and it's your responsibility to listen to us. We're in this together. So I want to encourage you all to see us as people that you can depend on, that you can count on. When you are scared, come to us. When you have questions, come to us. We are not your enemies. We love you passionately. Because we were you. We were sitting right there. And so as all of you continue to grow and learn in this music, just remember, we're here for you. Your teachers are here for you. The staff is here for you. And we want you to be here for us. Let's lock hands together and continue to forge ahead in this experiment that we call democracy, through the magic sounds of this music that we call jazz. And perhaps we can heal and reconcile with all of our differences. It is you that will change the world through your sound and your being. All right? And now, we had a very difficult task over the past couple days, y'all. Everyone sounded so wonderful. Everyone was really prepared. And I want you all to understand that although we call this a competition, or some people call it a competition, it really isn't. It's a celebration. It's a celebration of what we've all achieved together. And we're going to all celebrate together. And as we announce the three bands that will be playing this evening, we hope that you can all join us in that celebration. All right? So, here we are, and these are the three bands in no particular order. Agora High School. Congratulations, Agora High School. Newark Academy. Congratulations, Newark Academy. And Osceola County High School for the Arts. It was a truly challenging time for us. Some of these bands came together with literally points apart from one another. And we want to congratulate all of you. We want you to have a wonderful dinner this evening. Come back for the concert at 7:30. And now we're going to turn it over to Megan, who will give you further instructions. Give it up for Megan. I want you to give it up for these wonderful judges and musicians. Thank y'all.